Hey, Browns fans, Spencer German coming to you from Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, where the Browns finish off an 18-13 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars to improve to 1-1 in the season. Anthony Moeglin back in Cleveland, jumping on in with me to break it all down with you. And Anthony, we want to take this video specifically just to kind of highlight the fact that Cleveland avoided the dreadful, daunting 0-2 start that we know has plagued teams over the years. I talked specifically, I told Kevin Stefanski after the game, in all 5 years he's been here, the team has started 1-1. And I think it speaks to a couple of different things. Like a season like this, you start as bad as you did in week one to bounce back and really put that one behind you. It's they didn't just say that, they delivered on it. And I think that speaks to just like how he has this locker room focused. They don't ride the roller coaster. They don't ride the emotions of one game at a time. And I think that played out on the field today as they kind of eke out a win, but you'll take them however you can get them.
Yeah, you absolutely will. And the way that this game went, right? We've talked about in other shows, but everybody on this team contributed, and that's another feather in the cap to Kevin and this whole entire staff is like, hey, the offense had it for spurts today, the defense had it for spurts today, but nobody had it consistently the entire game. They just continued to pick each other up. Whoever was hot, carried the water for that point in time, and then would kind of switch back and forth. So it really was. He says it, and we kind of laugh about it at this point, but it was a great team win. Like that's what we're going to see a video here. Probably it's already probably out of him in the locker room saying it's a great team win because really that's what it was, and it's so big to go back home 1-1 with a chance to have the Giants come to town, who you're going to be favored pretty heavily in when they come next Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I just can't understate either. Like, starting 0-2 is generally a kiss of death. There's teams in recent history that have dug themselves out of it. The Texans are the latest example. Last year, they started 0-2, and as we know, ended up beating the Browns in the playoffs and advancing on and losing in the divisional round. And I think there was 9 teams that started 0-2 last year, and they were the only team that was able to do that. Prior to last season, I think the stat was there was 407 teams since the merger, so like 1972, that have started 0-2, and only 39 of them have been able to make the playoffs after an 0-2 start. So the odds are against you if you start 0-2. And so to send Jacksonville home with that record and you avoid that, again, it's a massive, massive thing for them to be 1-1 sitting here after 2 weeks rather than 0-2, and a big momentum boost as they move forward on this schedule, and a portion of the schedule, mind you, that I think poses some games that feel pretty winnable for a good Cleveland Browns roster as long as they take care of business. We know week to week's different. Every team's good, and you can lose at any moment. But this is the part of the schedule where they really have to, I think, bank some wins.
And I'd say 2 things to that. You look across the AFC North, you got to keep pace. The Steelers are probably going to win today. At the time of this taping, they're up 13-0 against the Broncos, so they're probably going to move to 2-0. The Bengals are looking to beat the Chiefs. They're in a dogfight there. And then the Ravens fall today to the Raiders, 0-2. Just like you said, you can lose on any Sunday, but when you get a chance like this, you got to take care of business. And then let's fast forward 15 weeks. You don't know where the Jaguars are going to be record-wise. This is a team that's very even with you and has the same aspirations you do. You just won the tiebreaker over them, so that's huge going forward. Being 1-1, going back home against the Giants, then you go to Las Vegas, then you go to Washington. You're going to be a favorite in all 3 of those games. Now it's the challenge is take care of business when you're the favored team.
Yeah, that obviously is the big challenge next with the Giants coming to town next week. But it's hard not to feel good about the way that they were able to kind of get one done today. If you're a Browns fan, Joe Bitonio talked about the importance of getting this one and kind of putting the week one behind them. And I do think that's what's interesting, to go back to us talking about them like not riding the roller coaster. It's one thing for guys to sit there in the locker room and be like, it's 1 week, we got 16 more, blah, blah, blah. Not only did the Browns say that, but like they lived that on the field. Like they went out and proved that they weren't going to just kind of, dwell on the past and dwell on that game. And I think that's another positive sign for this team as they move forward in the schedule, because there's going to be, unless they go on some miraculous run here where they don't lose the rest of the season, there will be more losses. And it's about how you respond to them. Kevin Stefanski's record after a loss is also really, really good. And so those are all notable things as they navigate this 2024 schedule, which is a difficult one given some of the quarterbacks and teams that they play.
Yeah, it's a mature group. It's a veteran group. Myles Garrett said it today after the game. He goes, someone made a comment, and I said in another video, but one of the reporters said, hey, you guys turned the page pretty quick. And he goes, yeah, we're going to do it again because this game's over. We got another challenge ahead of us. And this group isn't set on week to week. They accomplished what they needed to. They looked better. They fulfilled what they needed to do. Now the job changes. Celebrate this one for the next, usually they say 24 hours. This is about an 18-hour celebration. And flip the page, and you're on to the Giants.
You'll take them however you can get them is a sort of cliche slogan in the NFL. I think the Browns leave Jacksonville after the way this game ended, nearly handed it away at the end there. But they'll take it how they can get it, and they are going home 1-1. And sending Browns fans, obviously, or giving Browns fans a lot more to be happy about this Sunday than they did a Sunday ago. They'll be back next week. Giants coming to town to Cleveland for week 3. It'll be another big game against an NFC opponent, and the Browns will try to get a winning record for the first time this season, and we'll be there to cover it for you. But in the meantime, plenty of coverage of the Browns and Jaguars from today right here on the Cleveland Browns for SI, or Cleveland Browns on SI YouTube channel, and of course, at Cleveland Browns on SI. We've had a ton of posts go up throughout the game, after the game, and we got more coming as well. So keep it locked. Continue following along for all the coverage of your Cleveland Browns.